We all came here to talk about FinTech. That's pretty obvious. But did we came here to talk also about sustainability? I say yes, and I will explain you why. In Europe, digital agenda and sustainability are the main trends. They are also the main trends globally. And why is that? Because we all face an existential threat. And that existential threat is climate change. And it is up to all of us to solve that. In order to solve the climate change, in Europe we have set the goal to become a net zero economy by 2050. And that is rather soon when we think about what stage we are in now. So what do we need to ensure that our economies are modern, they are transformed, they are resource efficient, and they don't do harm to the environment? Of course, we need to innovate. And of course, in order to innovate, we need funds. And the amounts for such a radical change are really, really large. So how do we do that? How we ensure that we can have funds to transform our economies? In European Union, there is a sustainable finance agenda that focuses on several main elements. So first one is the taxonomy. Taxonomy is a science-based reference in order to assess what impact economic activities do to the environment. Another priority is then if you have the reference, you have to have the data that is standardized, that is transparent, and that is accurate. So sustainability-related disclosures for both financial corporations and non-financial corporations is also part of that agenda. The third aspect is that this data has to be open, it has to be easily accessible, and that is done through a single access point that will be the main data source in Europe. And all that is needed in order to assess the impact of economic activities that not always can be very straightforward when we think about complicated processes, when we think about the global value chains, and of course, in order to prevent greenwashing, because it can really make a big harm to if societies lost confidence, if investors lost confidence. So having the data, having it clear and transparent is necessary in order to channel green funds to the economy. And of course, the challenges that we face, it's not just European, it's global. So international cooperation is paramount as well. When we talk about Lithuania, we have made a plan how to transform each of sectors, each of the economic activity. And of course, it have different time phase because of their complexity and their starting point. But we have a very kind of clear short-term goal. So by 2030, we want to produce all of our electricity from renewable sources. So I just wanted to compare with Japan. So currently Japan produces 1/4 of electricity from renewables. For now we produce around the half, and in the coming 6 years we plan to reach the full 100%. So as I said before, innovation is needed and funds are needed. So in order to channel the funds to this transition, we assess that even though we contribute significant amounts from the public funds, for public investments, they're not enough, and we need to attract private investments as well. So our Green Finance Action Plan has a role to combine private and public funding in order to fund those economic sectors that are in transition. From the state perspective, we also intend to mark our budget from 2026 in order to know what impact we are making as a state through our budget. And of course, it is important to ensure that investors and the society have their financial literacy so that consumers demand the products that are green. And how do we make that? So even if you are from the government or from the private sector, you all know that if you want to make a change, you have to have it as a first priority. And for that reason, we established Green Finance Institute that thinks about these challenges from the morning till the evening, and maybe these forces are even keeping the people awake at night. That I don't know. But it is important that the focus and the hub of information is in one think tank that helps them to solve this challenge and answer the questions, because we all understand that greening the economy and understanding how to get there is a very complicated process. And where the FinTech comes to play, so we know our existential threat, we know that we have a challenge which is climate change. We know that we want to become net zero continent by 2050, so what do? If we look at the sectors that emits the most greenhouse gases, that are the most kind of polluting sectors, you can see household and agriculture, you can see manufacturing, you can see construction. So if you want to transition to the green economy, it's not enough just to invest into like kind of brand new digital businesses. You have to transform the existing ones. So it's clear that we will have to eat something, we will have to live somewhere. So these sectors have to undergo a drastic change. And for that, we need, of course, innovation. And innovation, by default, it's risky. It can succeed, it cannot. We have the goal, but we are not exactly sure how it will be achieved. And FinTech here comes into play by ability to use technology, to use data to solve those issues. So for example, artificial intelligence can help to assess what is green. Big data can help to make investment decisions. Blockchain technology can make it easier for consumers and investors to understand and ensure they're kind of more user-friendly services. Some FinTech, they specialize in certain areas in like very specific niche sectors. Because if you, for example, think about like know your client concept, initially the kind of financial services providers would just pass the street and see if, if there is a kind of company that is like building a building, or if there is a mortgage holder building his house. Now with knowing your customer can go like it's very horizontal, it goes globally. If you, for example, work with agriculture sector, you can have specialization not based on your like place or your country, but it can go really like horizontal throughout the region. So FinTechs, by specializing, can have like really niche knowledge and being able to finance then the risky sectors that otherwise wouldn't get finance from traditional financial corporations that are used to finance traditional businesses. So for FinTech in Lithuania, in Europe, what is important to mention is that there is a single set of rules. So it means that by having a license to operate in any of the European Union country, it opens up all the European market. So for that, we need to have like single rules and the single framework that allows innovation, but also that ensures consumer protection, financial stability, and risk management. And of course, the single space for data. And since the economy is moving into the digital world, it is also important to manage risks efficiently. And for that, in the EU, we have legal acts and initiatives that covers all the scope. So it's for the markets in crypto assets, for example. We have regulations of digital operation resilience, anti-money laundering, instant payments, open data. So this allows businesses in the European Union to have a single set of rules, and they don't need to adapt dramatically when they go from country to country. It's a like single zone with a single rules, which facilitates businesses and allows access to all the EU market. And why is it important to then focus on FinTech and invest in FinTech? Firstly, because it does help to solve challenges, because it makes it easier for businesses, it allows better, more efficient, cheaper services for consumers. And when we look from the economic perspective, as a state, why do we promote it? Because it helps our economy to be high value added productive economy. The growth of revenues in FinTech is still has a lot of potential to grow, and we want to be part of it. So even now, we are already established as a FinTech hub. In Lithuania, we have the most e-money institutions and payment institutions licenses issued in all the EU. 1 in 10 adults in European Union are getting services from companies established in Lithuania. When we look at our risk management, we are 6th in the world by the way we manage cybersecurity risks. And when we look at AML risks, Lithuania is 9th globally in how efficient we manage to deal with those risks. When we look at the growth of revenues of our companies, they grew 23% annually. So the growth is really rapid, and we want to make sure we continue to be on that path. So for that, last year, we launched our national FinTech strategy that has several main elements. So first, as a state, we want to support the development of the FinTech companies. Second, we want to attract innovative solutions to Lithuania. The third is we aim to be the center of excellence when it comes to competences. And lastly, we have to ensure that we are a safe and reliable jurisdiction, because we understand that financial sector is based on trust, and we cannot compromise that trust in any way. So how do we do that? So for any successful business, you need skilled people, you need funding, and when it comes to financial sector, you also need to have good digital infrastructure, and you need to have regulation that allows the innovation, that is able to grow together with the sector and adapt to the changing needs. And of course, to maintain the trust, we have to ensure high standards of risk management. So in Lithuania, we offer all that. It is our constant effort to strive to be upfront. So when you and your businesses decide to also go to the European Union, we invite you to use as a gateway to Europe and reach the large customer base in the EU. There are a lot of challenges that FinTech and technology can solve. So we encourage you to cooperate, and by building partnerships across the continents, I'm sure we can manage to achieve those ambitious goals. Thanks a lot.